another episode of Unbroken Marketers. Today we have Jenna Larson, the founder of GroupTrack CRM. And over the past, I think, 2 years, you've been building your software for social media, and you have been able to organically grow your baby to like a full adult without any paid ads, pure organic, just pure genius. And so thank you for coming on. I guess we can start. What inspired GroupTrack and what brought you to, your software startup?
Yeah, it was like actually a total accident, which makes us laugh. So I'll bring it back like a little bit further. So I was working in a corporate position. I was so happy. I worked with my best friends. I'd been there for 10 years, great salary. I was literally like done with my job by 11 o'clock every day, like literally done, and was still like hitting the top numbers in the company. So it was like just the easiest thing in life, right? But one day I was sitting in church and God knocked on my head and was like, "Hey, Jenna, you're leaving and you're starting a company." And I was like, "No, sir, like I'm good." I'm like, what do you mean? Like you have the wrong girl, right? But as you know, he's relentless. And so he kept knocking and was like, no, it's time. And so I'm like, dang it, fine, right? So I went to my husband and I was like, "Hey, I'm going to start a company." And he was like, "What? Like, well, what are you going to do?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but if I take my experience from corporate and, I was a rower and a coxswain in college, and I ended up coaching former Olympians. And so I was like, well, I know how to get people to do really hard things. Like I am a coach through and through. So I'm just going to start a coaching company." And so I told my husband and he was like, okay. And I was like, well, by the way, I found a coach and she cost $30,000 for the first 3 months. And he was like, okay, if anybody can do it, you can. I'm like, well, crap, right? Because I thought, well, he's going to tell me no. So then I called my mom and I'm like, "Hey mom, I'm leaving my, career, starting a coaching business." And she was like, "Well, I've been waiting for this phone call for 2 years." And I'm like, "What the heck?" So went to my boss and I was like, "I'm leaving. God told me to." I'm sure everybody thought I was like absolutely crazy. But when God's clear and you're willing, that crazy things happen. So I ended up leaving my career and started a coaching company, and basically took everything from being a collegiate coach and coaching former Olympians and all of the work I did on the customer acquisition and retention and voice of the customer that I did in corporate, and ended up creating a coaching company called Drive Performance Coaching, and accidentally kind of worked with online business owners, a lot of network marketers, which I had never done network marketing in my life. But what started to happen is that I was really thinking, okay, this is it, right? Like this is what God had for me. But what started to unfold is that what I was teaching my clients, which was how to get more clients and how to keep them buying and all of that stuff, what started to happen is that they were doing so well with what I was teaching them that they started having another problem, right? They're like, you have too many leads, you have too many people falling through the cracks. And so they were getting overwhelmed. And I'm like, well, this is interesting, right? And so I was driving to a holiday party one day and I was like, oh my God, we need to create a CRM, which is on social media, so that as I'm teaching the things I'm teaching, people aren't, trying to go between the different things. So anyways, that's where GroupTrack was born. So I called Nathan, who was he was a client of mine at the time with a different software. And I was like, "You need to build this software." And he's like, "No, it'll never happen." And then 2 weeks later, he was like, "Oh my God, I did it." So we kind of joke that it's like a total accident that GroupTrack ever happened. And yeah, so here we are. And actually, we just celebrated our 5th year anniversary. So we did hit our first million in the 3rd year of business, like early in the 3rd year. And yeah, it's been like just absolutely crazy.
So your husband speaking belief into you, supporting you, not doubting you, giving you the keys to take those steps. How much of a difference did that make, having that support versus fighting against somebody's doubt instead of being lifted up by their belief?
Well, and I was kind of hoping he'd be like, no, that's reckless. What are you doing? And then I thought my mom would do that for me and be like, no, play it safe. Like I am very like, I don't do scary things and I don't, I'm not that girl, right? But, fueled by faith, it's a little bit of a different story. So my husband and my mom both being like, yeah, we're waiting. Like if anybody can do it, it's you. We trust you. I was like, crap, now I have to do it, right? It almost forced me into it. Cause when you say crazy things out loud and people justify like, no, 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 that's crazy. And then you're like, okay, I thought so. But they did the opposite for me. And so that definitely pushed me forward. And, thank God I have the most amazing spouse who's actually sacrificed his own career growth just for my business. And so that he can make sure he's here for the kids and the family, because, the family is really important to us.
That is just such a beautiful message to everybody. I mean, I think everybody expects that their husbands and their wives will, support them. But I mean, I think you hear the opposite more so than you hear the story that you're sharing right now. And I mean, when people around us believe in us, I mean, it just invigorates us. And, when people don't, I mean, just like you said, then we're going to validate those doubts with something. Our subconscious is going to use those as the exact reasons to not do the thing. But who we surround ourselves with is so paramount. And so what was the difference between year 3 when you guys passed 7 figures and like the beginning of say year 2? What,
Yeah.
it sounds like it was a phased out process of probably some trial and error,
Oh my
or
gosh.
was it just,
We're still there.
yeah.
We're still in trial and error. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, I don't want to like downplay, my talent, but I feel like I'm literally building the plane as I go. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would be a SaaS owner, right? Coach, entrepreneur, even that was kind of crazy for me. But then knowing my background, okay, I was a coach, like it makes sense. SaaS owner, like, first of all, being a female in a very male dominated space. Second of all, like technical, like that sort of stuff. It just never thought I would do something like that. So, it's slightly blind leading the blind in a couple areas, but one of the things about me is like, if I think I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm kind of like anti-bucket list in that way, where I'm like, I feel like a bucket list is an excuse to say you have a dream that you're never going to do anything about. And if I put something on my bucket list, like I'm going to do a TED Talk, I do a TED Talk, you know what I mean? So it's like, those are, that's kind of how I operate. But I think that's, the biggest blessing. It's like, I do things scared and I figure if I can do it, then I can. And if I can't, then I can't. Right. But the biggest thing is, and the motto I've lived by is get your feet wet, because if you take the first step, if you decide that you're drowning, you could get a life raft, you could turn around, you can go to shore. But in my case, many times, the fact that I've simply been willing to get my feet wet has let the sea part, and I've been able to walk right over to the promised land, right? Because I'm willing. And so that's just how I show up in my business every day, whether it's year 2, year 3, 4, 5, it's just like, let's just do the things and we'll see. And I think that's a big differentiator between me and a lot of entrepreneurs that are not as successful is they wait. They're like, well, I need to know it's going to work and I need to figure it out. I'm like, girl or boy, I will send the email with the typos. I will show up with no makeup. Like, I just do things, and I feel like waiting is an excuse. And so, yeah, we've been through a lot of trials, let me tell you. And I was, kind of sharing, we're in one right now in terms of just the business and how things, have gone in this market, but we still just get our feet wet every single day. And I think that's what makes us persevere always.
So what's your take right now? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going through turbulent, months, if not a turbulent year. Like, what is it that and you understand based on your experience that, in a sense, infuses some sort of like, I don't know, comprehension of what's happening, as well as kind of like, obviously you've navigated these kinds of waters before. Like what is your take and what is your like, what was your strategy?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we're seeing in this market is that buyers are tired, right? Like they've all been burned. They've been sold these very expensive programs where people were really good marketers, but they were not good coaches. And that has really ruined a lot of trust in the buyers. And so people are just not making as great a sales. The other thing is everybody's a coach, everybody's a service provider, everybody is everything. And so they have a lot of choices, right? It's kind of like dating now. Like think about how that's gone with like social media and Tinder and all those things. People aren't like as committed anymore. Same thing with finding a coach or service provider. And so, sales are down. And I can tell you, like, without a shadow of doubt, our sales are down, and I see it in our clients, right? Does that mean that our tool is not as effective? No, absolutely not. It means the market is shifting. But the big thing that I get, a little bit frustrated about is like you still see people acting like nothing's changed. And I think that's really unfair for the marketers and the service providers that are looking up to a lot of people and feeling like, oh, it must be me. I'm the only one failing in this market, or I'm the only one struggling. And so I always like to just be really, honest, like it's been a different year. It very much has. And I think, hopefully anybody listening who's like, wondering, is it just me, knows it's not, right? Yes, there are people doing great, and there are people that are killing it even more than they ever have. That's true. But the majority of people that I talk to, it's been a harder year for sure. And I think the big thing, at least what we're doing, is we are doubling down on everything that we know to be true.
Is the change that's happening right now, does that mean offer, presentation, packaging, the funnel, the customer journey? Does that mean that everything that we knew basically has to start being thrown out the door and being replaced with new strategies? Or is there what is the mix, or what is the path?
I think that we're actually going back to what we used to do. So I think, in the beginning, it was very much relationship marketing, right? Build relationship with a community, with your actual people. And then it got big, and then we could go like, kind of one to many, and there was no connection to the clients, and we're just like trying to sell at like this massive scale. I think we're actually going back into relationship marketing, right? So it's like, you think about this, right? If you're going to decide to purchase from someone, are you going to choose the person who's in your DMs talking to you and following up and serving you at a high level? Or are you going to pick the random guy or girl that like, an ad went across your page, but that was it, and they know nothing about you or, anything like that. So, that's what we're doing. And I think a lot of our clients are doubling down, and that's where GroupTrack is so amazing, because it helps you really manage the people, manage the relationships, making sure that you're following up. So that's where we've doubled down. And I think what I'm starting to see is just things are more casual, right? Like we were very professional content. Now it's like pulling up a camera and talking to the people, right? It's going back to like being human and relationship and that sort of stuff. So I think, I don't think we throw things out at all, but I do think, it's just moving back into that real relationship marketing, which is what we love.
Well, and that's what you've excelled at, and that's been your main driver, is building the community, building the audience, building the trust, building the loyalty, social proofing the crap out of everything that you can.
Yeah.
Everybody loves GroupTrack CRM. The very reason that people need something GroupTrack CRM is literally because if every lead is like more valuable now because lead flow and purchasing, leverage is being reduced, like we can't afford to let anybody go through the cracks more than ever right now. And so like, what a perfect time for you. I would think that, how do I say this? My biggest gap in my business right now is follow-up. It is tracking who I'm talking to. All my hand raised posts, it's like who's raised their hands before, not just for this post, but the past posts. How do I start to migrate and compound and accumulate these, audiences that aren't necessarily going to see my content every day, but they did see that one thing in Signal. It's like, how do I collect them so I can, reach out to them? And so I think the long-term leverage of GroupTrack CRM is literally in being able to accumulate over time, especially for all of us who post in groups and post in our feeds and stuff. Like our DMs are just too crowded. Like when I go do follow-ups, then anyone I was talking to, I just lost our thread. I can't see it. It's buried. I'm gonna forget about it, and all I did was follow-ups, and so.
So true. We actually had a client who had sent a bunch of offers to his audience, and his DMs got so overwhelming that he didn't see a bunch of responses. And so he clicked one of our features in GroupTrack, and he found all of these unread messages where people had said yes to his offer and he never saw it. And so we were like, Daniel, how much money would you have made if you had converted those people who said yes? Like, we're saying he made an offer, they said yes, he just never closed it up because he never saw it. It was $57,000 of yeses that he did not convert because he didn't find the messages, which GroupTrack found for him in one button in 30 seconds.
Oh, wow. That's super powerful. And that's basically the whole thing about this is you've been there, done that experience, they created the solution for it. So it's not like someone just built something.
No.
You had a very clear understanding of what you were trying to build.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I think that's what makes GroupTrack really special. I mean, there's competitors, of course. I think the difference between us and many of our competitors is really the foundation, which is Nathan and I. Nathan is the coder and he is brilliant. I mean, he is an anomaly. And then you have me, that's crazy ADHD practitioner who's doing the work that all of our clients are. And so I'm figuring out the things that work and I'm like, oh my God, build this. And Nathan's always like, no, just like he was when I asked him to build GroupTrack. And then 30 seconds later, he's built it, right? So that continues to be our theme over the years is I'm like, I have this idea. And he's like, absolutely not, it's done. So it's evolved, right? Like what we were 5 years to where we are now, it's not even the same tool. It's, it's a whole nother level. And in fact, now we're on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So, we're just seeing the gap and that is the follow-up. And it's hard because you have all of these other gurus that are like telling everybody like, let me help you go viral. Let me get you all these views. You need a huge audience. And here's the truth, right? I only have 5,000 people in my Facebook group. My personal Facebook page, I think, has like 7,000. My Instagram page has 200 something. Okay. Like ridiculous. Okay. And here's the reality. We have a low ticket offer. So it's not like we're selling a 10K offer and that's how we hit $1 million. Our pricing is $97, $297, or $497. So it's not a high ticket. And there's only 2 of us doing the actual outreach. And so we were able to do that. Last year we did 1.2 million. And I say that not in a, not to brag, but to just give you guys some proof that you don't need a big following. You don't need a big audience. You don't need a big team. Like you don't need any of those things. You just need to talk to humans and follow up. It's wild. I like want to lovingly shake everybody to be like, stop it. Because here's the thing, like if I can just be like blunt for a moment, to all of the people that are believing the lie that you need to have a huge audience. If you're not consistently converting the ones you already have, what makes you think adding more people to it will change anything, right? So it comes down to like the system and the strategy and the skills. And that's exactly what we coach on. And once you get those 3 things, okay, great. Now let's go do an ad. Like we are actually going to do our first ad ever in 5 years. It's taken 5 years and we're going to go do our first one because we're at a position where we're ready to do it. We have dialed in our system, which is GroupTrack. We have our exact strategy of what we say, when we say it, how we say it, all the things. And then we have the skills to navigate the sales conversation. So we've proven it, it works. Okay, so now let's add some more lead flow and put some fuel in the fire. But the reality is most people do it completely opposite. They're like, oh, I need ads. And you don't have a system, a strategy, or skills to convert them. So you're just wasting money.
That's probably that's myth. That's like you just solved one of the biggest myths that I think a lot of people are blinded by. I know I have struggled with it, especially when you look at other people and like the influence and the reach that they have. And you're just like, I mean, you don't have to have that to have that. Cause I know someone who to break 2 million, I mean, they have millions of followers. You did half of that with basically 5,000.
Right.
And so like, just anybody watching this, reverse engineering is like the best thing ever. Like Jenna, GroupTrack, keep them close, follow them. If you want to see, like, watch people navigate and like circumvent real-time obstacles and like adapt to the markets and position themselves, GroupTrack is absolutely just nailing it to a T. So like, just hands up. I just have to tell you that right now, hearing everything that you guys are doing. And I mean, how do I say this? aside from the big following being a myth, what is the next myth that I'm pretty sure you talk about pretty often?
Gosh, that's the one I scream, like I literally want to shove down everyone's throat with love, because it's the one that people are like the most, big about. Like, I need more leads, I need more leads. And I'm like, you don't. What's another myth I would say? Probably that, like, well, two of them. One would be that Facebook groups are dead. That one, I'm like, oh man, yes, in 2020, you could have a Facebook group, put a post up, people threw money at your face. Sure. That's dead, of course. Facebook groups are not dead. That strategy is dead, right? And I think people get that very confused. And so you're going to see a lot of people that are like, oh my God, Facebook, meh, meh, meh. And so then they mass exodus, they go to school, they go wherever the F, they want to go. Else, I don't know why F came out. They go wherever the else they want to go. And then what happens is they realize very quickly the flow of traffic on these other tools is not even close to what you can get on Facebook. So it's like, what is the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning? I'm going to be honest, I open up Facebook, right? And so does half of the world. So if we took, if we looked at all the countries in the world and we compared it to how many people are on Facebook, Facebook would be the biggest country. So it's a habit that everybody has had for the last 20 years. If we're trying to get someone to go to, let's say, school, you're going to have to teach a new behavior. That's really, really hard to do, right? And so the other thing that we see, and we see it because people cancel GroupTrack. They're like, oh, we love the tool, we love you guys, but we're going to go over to this new platform because we hate Facebook. I'm like, okay, I give them a little warning. I'm just going to be honest. Most people who do, they come right back. They're like, oh yeah, okay. They go, and then they send me a DM a couple months later and they're like, hey, we're back. I'm like, okay, great, love it. But I would say that's a really big thing. It's like, the other day there was like a glitch with Facebook and it did accidentally close down some big groups. And it was like immediate panic, knee jerk. Everyone's like, we're off. And it's just like, okay. And so we kind of laugh behind the scenes, not at their misfortune, of course, but just like, they'll come back. It's okay, And it's like, when you look at the gift that Facebook has given us, the fact that we don't have to go door to door and belly to belly, and we can make sales and make a living off a free platform, it's incredible. Yes, there are going to be issues. Yes, there's going to be strategy changes. And, there's going to be things like, believe me, if anybody wants to like toilet paper Mark Zuckerberg's house, it's me, because our tool relies on all, the things with Meta. And if they change, it breaks us and we're in a constant battle, but we're still here because we see the value. So that would be a really big one, is that everybody thinks Facebook is dead and they got to go somewhere else. It's just not true.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay, that's going to be a clip for sure. So anybody watching this, you might find this from the short reels. And so when that did happen, GroupTrack still had all of anybody that was registered from anybody's groups or anything. So like, it's basically it's a second line of defense against what we all know. We don't own anything on a social media platform. And even if our whole account doesn't get shut down, the audiences that we have built can be. And that's why it's more important than ever to have backups. I mean, we should be doing email lists and other things, but within the platform as well too, which is exactly. So I'm sure that's also why you weren't sweating as well too, and your clients.
Yeah. And it was really funny, actually. One of the guys who lost his really big group, we had been chatting about GroupTrack in the past, and he was like, oh, I don't know, I'm nervous to use it. And it's such a bummer, because if he had GroupTrack, we would have had every single lead from his, giant Facebook group, and he would have not been quite as stressed. So he sent me a message. He was like, dang it, if I would have just got it before. But yeah, so when you have a Facebook community, for example, or your friends list, or your LinkedIn connections, or whatever it may be, we can add those leads into GroupTrack. It keeps their URL. If they provide you their email, let's say when they come into your Facebook group, we also capture that, which then builds your email list as well. So yeah, we have had one person lose their account for something, I forget what it was, but she was so grateful to GroupTrack because we had all of her leads. She got our new Facebook group. She then just went through the system and built up that system right back up.
Wow. And your developer, can you tell us about your developer? It sounds like this man, and we gotta get next into your husband because I'm already a huge fan. It's like hearing your story. It's like I'm single, I'm not married, but I need someone that believes in me. I say, hey, I'm gonna go spend 30K on this when maybe we are in the best spot. And they're like, hey, cool, babe, I trust you.
Yeah.
You got this. Like that is just so powerful. So if we can start with the developer and then circle back to, your Prince Charming.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so my developer and co-founder is Nathan Jass. And as I was mentioning, when we met, someone connected us. He was working for a different company. I was in my first company, and he was building a different software. And he did not know how to sell. So he hired me as his private coach to help him learn how to sell, online and all that stuff, because that's really what I was doing. He is not like classically trained or whatever you would call it, like officially trained in coding. Like he is just one of those mad scientists. And it's so interesting because now on our team, like we've got people that have come from the SaaS world. And even yesterday in a conversation, one of the gals was saying, like, I don't know if you guys fully understand how much of a genius Nate is. Like he is a unicorn because, a lot of coders are very like soul focused. But Nate is like, he gets the business, he gets the strategy we're trying to run. He can code things in 30 seconds. Like he's so fast, he's so good. And like I said, just not even professionally trained. So it's wild. But, when we look back, and Nathan and I talk about this all the time, like there's no way we should have met. And God was very clearly like, you guys are going to start a business. And what's so fun is he's the complete opposite of me. Like in every way other than like values and morals and that sort of thing, like we're very aligned there. But in terms of business and the way we act we are literally the polar opposites, which is a really good tension, right? Because, we're able to like pull each other into uncomfortable things we don't want to be doing and meet in the middle and all that stuff. But he's just an absolute genius and everybody loves him at GroupTrack. Like in our community, when there's been days that have just been absolutely horrible, let's say Meta rolls out a change and it's broken everything, clients will send him gift cards because they know how stressed he is and how hard he's working for the community. I think that's really special as well about GroupTrack is like, you're very connected to the founders. Like I know all of our clients, I know what their business is. We talk to them, it's like, that is something that a lot of people like is that they can reach out to the founders and we'll talk to them and, it's not like they're these weird people that are far away. So it's nice.
Well, I mean, you're here with me right now, and I see you all over social media. I see you jumping into calls with people. So absolutely. And so like your husband, like I don't know this man, but I feel like I'm a huge fan of him already because I'm just like, wow. Well, it's like we talk about speaking life into people, and it's just a huge biblical principle. But how many times, like I'm imperfect too, but it's like how many times do we not speak belief into people?
Yeah.
And it's not about us being right or wrong. It's about supporting something. And the thing about it is people do amazing things, and I'm an example of that. When people believe in them and support them, and so like you can't ever judge somebody's potential based on their current circumstance or situation. But what you can do is speak life into them and support them. And so, like, tell us about this amazing man who literally is like the linchpin from how it started of everything you've been able to build.
Yeah. And like I said, I had counted on him telling me no. Like, well, that's just a crazy idea. Why would you say yes to your wife who wants to quit her career that's been really good and is very solid and go start a business when she has no clue what she wants to do other than God told her to do it? Like that is a lot for anybody. And like, I always wonder, like, what would I have done if he said that to me? I hope I would be as gracious and wonderful. I don't know that I would have been, to be honest. He is 100%, so responsible for that confidence because like I said, if he had said no, I'd have been like, okay, yeah, you're right. That is so crazy. But he believed in me and he believed in my faith. Right. And there's been a lot of really pivotal moments where I have listened to God and everybody else around us was like, that doesn't seem like the greatest idea, but I knew it was from him and I just did it. And so that's the other thing. Chris trusts me, but he trusts my belief in God. And he trusts that if God is being very clear with me, and I believe it, then it is real. And so that's another piece for him. But he is wonderful. So like I said, he he's completely supportive. He it's so cute. Like when he works from home, like you'll see I'll be in a coaching call and all of a sudden food will just float into my face because he's made me lunch. Or, I have a photo in my first company of a meal, but it's right outside of my office on the floor. And it was like, you need to get off the call because you're working too much. You cannot have your food until you get up. And it was so cute. So there was, food and a beer laying there for me. And he was like, so it's like, not only is he serving me and helping me and, feeding me literally, but also making sure that, mentally I'm taking care of myself and, all that stuff. But he has sacrificed a lot in his own career to make sure that, we have a really good balance with the children. So we've got 2 young kids, and that's really important to both of us, is that, we're at every single practice, we're at every single game, we're, completely involved with everything. And really, I joke that I, quit my 9 to 5 for the 24/7, but we are both able to be so much more present. And that's because Chris has, really sacrificed his career goals to help us, really focus on GroupTrack while maintaining everything with the kids.
And like getting married and meeting in the middle like that, it's like I'm just like, Chris, it's like, ladies and gentlemen watching this, it's like, be the Chris for your loved one that's doing whatever, like be Chris.
I think many wives, it's so funny. Like we always joke, like all of our friends and my friend, I mean, seriously, God gave me this man, because sometimes I'm like, do I even deserve this? He's so good. Like all men should be like Chris, just in every way, truly.
No, it's beautiful too. And so like putting your family first, I mean, you put God first and then God, family, business. And like, that's exactly what you guys have done.
Yeah.
It's like God, faith, family, finances, type of a thing. And you put your ducks in a row, but more importantly, you're on the same page. Yeah. And so like, it's like, as I hear your story, it's just like my heart goes out to how many people are not in that situation. They're not being supported. The other person is not supportive. And instead of meeting in the middle for the betterment of the whole unit, a lot of people get locked into their own self-interest. And so like when you get with someone, these different things, generally speaking. Some people don't because they get married too fast.
Yeah.
But it's like, when are you writing your book? Like, when are you going to write a book about all of this?
That's really funny. I have about 3 books that are in my head. But funny enough, they're not about business. One is my mom had breast cancer when I was like 21. And I found at the time that there's not many books, like there's a lot of My Mommy Has Cancer books. There's not a lot of support for a young adult who is still young enough to need her mommy, but old enough where she has to take care of it. So that is one of my books. And then my other son has dyslexia, and that has been a very big journey. In fact, one of the other big faith things that our business has provided through God is, I drive him an hour to school every day to a school for dyslexia. That's extremely expensive. But, thank God our, business has provided because of him, and we're able to do that. But that's another thing that's just like really big on my heart is, just there is not a big understanding in the typical education and kind of how it impacts the family and the parents and all those things. So, I actually started that one, which is funny, but I don't know. My mom, I'm laughing when you say that, because I feel like, once I sell GroupTrack and, all the things, my mom's like, when are you writing your books? When are you writing your books? So I feel like I have like about 10 of them in me just waiting. So, but those are the 2 that are always kind of speaking to me.
Well, when you make those steps, just like you said, we get your feet wet. I'm sure magic's going to happen. It's a beautiful story. And so you just mentioned when you sell GroupTrack. So sounds like your intention when you built GroupTrack was to make an exit. I think that's most founders, objective, work hard, get the payoff, and then maybe go start a couple things different. We all want to be like Elon Musk, build a PayPal, and then start, SpaceX, Solar City, and Tesla. What is that vision? What is the goal? Yeah.
I don't know that we have it like fully dialed in just yet. I think, there's a couple things that we want to do before we sell, right? Like I had said, we've never done official marketing in terms of like paid ads. So, we've grown the business organically 100%. And I think, we're looking to get to a point where we've pulled the levers and we feel like, okay, this is the time. So we're just not quite there yet, but, eventually one day, I think that'll kind of be the goal is to sell it and, just especially as my children are going into high school, I think that's the time I really want to be home with them. And so that's right around the corner, next couple years here. So coming up soon, I think.
Wow. And so you're completely bootstrapped as well too. Around bootstrapping versus taking capital, what was your experience around that? And what is your takeaway? Because I think founders that have had to go and make those hard decisions and then obviously have built success have a different perspective than those who maybe did it and didn't work out.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I've been to SaaS conventions and coaching things, and I'm like, oh, it feels like a foreign world to me when they're talking about this other stuff because we didn't do it and I don't know anything about it. I only know, well, I'm going to run my business like I ran my coaching company. So it was, we did our first launch. We made $20,000 the first day. So we were pretty much Nathan and I weren't really taking a paycheck for the first couple months, but other than that, it's just been profitable. So we've never thought to bring in someone, and we could. I mean, we've thought about it, like where do we want to go from here? But I literally just ran it like a coaching company. So Nate kind of was like, I'll build it, you sell it, and that's just what we've done. So, when I hear all this, funding and series, whatever, I'm like, I don't even know what the heck that means because we're just so not in that world. It's so weird to me. So I don't know what I don't know. I don't know any better other than the fact that what we did worked. And I think that the crazy thing is just I took a very coaching model and applied it to SaaS. And that's why I think, our business works because we don't just sell the software follow-up system. We sell coaching on how to get leads, how to nurture them, how to follow up, how to make offers. So it all goes together. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think that, I don't know. You tell me honestly. Someone should tell me, why did it work?
Well, I mean, this is where we get into faith in God.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the only next place to go because in my story from addiction, just all my different things, I can tell you things don't make sense. Like when I was in the homeless shelter, hooked on drugs, got into the Ohio State University, I was in crutches, the money worked out for my tuition, but it didn't actually compute. And to this day, I've never questioned it. But the money, I've looked at it multiple times. I'm like, we're missing a third. Where my grants don't cover this, my things don't cover this. How is it showing being paid in full? And I just I can talk about it. If it worked, it worked. If I'm meant to be here, I'm meant to be here. And so, God and faith is extremely important in the process because when you're going through trials and tribulations and adversities, if you don't have that faith to hold on to, your probability of breaking through the process is exponentially greater. But it's if you have faith and you trust that this too shall pass, it's the world becomes your oyster. So
the biggest thing for me is, when we started both companies, when we said, what does success look like? It was not a dollar number. It wasn't oh, we can feed our family or, oh, we have this nice life. It was, are we doing what God told us to do? Yes or no? And as long as we were following through what we believed he was asking of us, that was success. And so when I look back and I'm like, okay, was GroupTrack or was Drive Performance successful? I can say yes with my chest because I feel like, number one, I started this crazy company because I felt like God called me to. And number two, we definitely use it as a platform to share. I'm very open about my faith, and so is Nathan. And, we're just so grateful because it's his, it's not ours, right? But that was the only definition of success to us is, did we do what he asked us to do? Yes or no? And if we did, then we feel good. And then, the treasures that have come have just been an amazing blessing on top of that.
And I mean, your experience with faith being tested, how do you feel about that in correlation to the process of, finding and achieving success? Like, how do I say this? It's like the tests we're given throughout the experiences. It's like if we reframe the experience and we look at it in a non-negative light, it's like life working for me. Like, how is this building me up? What is this telling me? What signal is this giving me that I wasn't aware of before? In association to faith, especially probably through some of the darker moments when things just maybe, I don't know what those specific moments are. Do you feel that the testing of faith is part of the process?
Not really. Is that weird? Like, I never feel like, was this the wrong move? Like, I feel so 100% like this was it. Like, there's no question that God told me what to do. We did it. What I question sometimes is this still what you want me to do? Right? Like, when those hard days come, I'm like, are you telling me something? Or, do you want me to fight through this? And this year has been really hard for us. We did a huge migration, which we had to do. It was very technical, and honestly, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And I mean, we were in the fetal position for a good 3 months. It was really, really tough. We lost a lot of customers. Now the tool's the best it's ever been, but there was that period where it was just awful. I mean, truly, all of us, fetal position, crying on the floor. Because we'd worked so hard for this thing, and then it just didn't go the way we wanted it, right? And during that time, it was never like, oh, should I have done GroupTrack? But it was like, do you still want us to do that? And so I just ask all the time, like, what do you want me to do? Like, I'll do what you want me to do. Just tell me where you want me to go. So, I don't feel like my faith is tested. I think it evolves, right? Or the what God wants me to do evolves.
Oh, wow. And so for you, that would basically, the GroupTrack ending would be selling. So when the time comes, it would be making the exit if you were to ever switch.
Yeah. And I think, this is the most beautiful thing. Let's say GroupTrack went away tomorrow. I would be so sad. I would feel like, damn, I worked so hard for this. This is, really sad. Or even if I sell it or close it, whatever the case may be, I think I would be sad because I put so much of my heart and soul into it. But I don't have any fear around it. I know that God has equipped me with whatever I need to do and put me in positions and put me in contact with people. I know that there is no question that I would listen to him for the next step and I would go take it. I remember thinking Drive Performance Coaching, my first company, was it. I was like, oh, this is the answer. This is what God wanted me to do. Now I look back on that one, I'm like, oh, that was a stepping stone to GroupTrack, right? Like, he really wanted me to be at GroupTrack. That was just the beginning. And so I often, just ask myself, like, is GroupTrack it? Or is that another stepping stone that I just don't even know about yet? So I think that's the most beautiful thing. Like, when you view your future with God's eyes, you can't even possibly imagine what he has there for you. So I'm just so open to be like, what do you want me to do? What's next? Is it to stay here? Is it to go? And that's the most beautiful thing is I have a lot of confidence in following through on what he asks. It may be hard. It may take me a while. I may have a couple conversations like, no, sir, wrong girl. But eventually I listen. Usually.
And entrepreneurship has opened up the path for you to take care of your son, correct? In a way that's actually fit for his learning needs. And if you weren't on this path, you wouldn't be able to provide that level of education for.
Oh my God, it is the most expensive thing you've ever heard of. It is like law school at a crazy law school every year that we have to pay for. But, and I drive an hour each way every single day. All worth it though, because it has changed his life. And if I wasn't an entrepreneur, if I didn't have the funds, I don't know how we would do it. And, there is a lot of need for dyslexia that just is not, it's just not there. It's I could go on a whole rant about that, but, it saved his life to go to that school. So, I'm so grateful. And, that was another thing where I was like, do we go there? Do we not? This is so expensive. It's going to change our lives. Like all of these things that God was like, so clear, like, okay. And then, again, we listened, we obeyed, and the payoff is unbelievable.
just crazy when you think about it, when you bring faith and God into it. Because like your son, before and after, I'm just thinking of everybody whose children need some form of like specialized attention. And these systems aren't built as a catch-all. It's a cookie cutter. It's not a catch-all. There's a few catches, but they're still generalized. And so like it's like when you think of Simon Simonek's why, like I'm just sitting here and like I'm seeing your whys as you talk about it. And so obviously those whys are very powerful. And then it brings you to the question is what kind of why does it truly take to get somebody to take those risks, take those chances for those whys, kind of like your son, because it's just, I don't have any children yet. I would like to think if I had a child that needed special attention, that I would move mountains. Obviously, I would ask God to move mountains.
Yeah.
I would move mountains so my kid had the best shot and chance at life.
Yeah.
And so many people don't necessarily think that way. And you went from the corporate to the entrepreneurship. You took the risk. You're like, hey, babe, we're going to spend $30,000 on a coach. I don't know if this is going to work, but you know me, I got this. I'm going to figure it out. And it's such a powerful story. And so like just circling around, like when I asked you previously, about the books and stuff, I'm just thinking like, it doesn't necessarily have to be about business in a sense as more of like, like, I don't know, like how important are your whys? Like how important are the people in your life? Like is a risk more, is a risk, is a risk have the capacity for more fear than, your child or your loved one, not having certain needs met and stuff like that. And so like, you have such a really good illustrated, presentation of all those principles through your story. And so it's like Jordan Peterson, he's got 12, the 12 principles, change your life type of a thing. It's like you're hitting all these different things where it's like kind of life, kind of business, kind of family, kind of finances, kind of faith. And you could literally go like 3, 3, 3, 3, and just like nugget drop, mic drop people. And it's integrated with your story too. So like I'm just flabbergasted right now. You're not on enough stages. You're not in enough, like you're just not putting yourself out there enough. You have a story that parents need to hear, especially. So I just want to, plant that seed, just be that other person that mentions it. Because our stories aren't about us. It's about other people. It's why the Bible's in story form, because humans connect through stories. And so, just like Chris, it's like, man, we need a whole book on like, how to be a supportive, spouse to an entrepreneur, and then just, talk about, Chris and you and how you've come to different agreements, how you've come to, I'm just saying like he chose to, leave his corporate career, his aspirations to support something that put the family first. It didn't put him first. You didn't put you first. You guys put the family first, and you both made hard decisions. And there's just so much like I can't even articulate how to explain that. Like there's just so much value, wisdom, like those are those hard conversations that break people. Those are the prides and the egos, and really what it is it's like your priorities are right. You've got God, you've got faith, you've got family, you've got all this, then you have the business. And so what you have built only is possible because you got your priorities in life right. And so like that right there, you could be a coach on.
I know. I think the biggest thing too, like when I look back and, I kind of made the comment earlier that, I don't believe in bucket lists because I think it just makes an excuse, I think the biggest thing, is that when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. Once, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it, right? Like there have just been so many instances where I'm like, I want to do a TED Talk. So if I say that, I'm going to go apply and get it. I walked into a junior college, into a dean's office, and I was like, I want to be a professor. I walked out with a job. Like, and my mom's always like, you do these crazy things that other people don't do. But I think that's why when I went to Chris, he believed me, right? Because I have a past of if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And so yes, I think Chris is the most amazing to believe me and do all those things. But I also think just speaking to the people who want to be the entrepreneur, you actually have to be consistent and you have to do what you're going to say.
That spoke to me because as I've been assessing a lot of my gaps, it's like how do we build that kind of a reputation, with family, loved ones, just across the board in life, be reliable, be dependent, be consistent,
Yeah.
which is all just reflections of priorities and disciplines and habits and values and morals and stuff. And so thank you so much for coming on and dropping all this fire. I didn't know what to expect when we brought you on, and you went so deep that I'm just thinking, how do you go on stages and speak to entrepreneurs across the country? Super impactful story.
Amazing.
Before we cut off, like I mean, everybody asks like, what is that one thing, that you would, I don't know, tell someone who's in your younger self steps, maybe needing to take that change. But most likely people watching this are already, boots on the ground in the trenches. Like you said, they're probably hurting right now because the economy is not moving the same way that it was. What is that message to them that they need to hear that, maybe is being whispered into your ear right now?
Number one, listen. Like if God is speaking to you, listen. And first of all, ask, right? You have to ask if you want to get an answer. And then when he answers, listen, and then get your feet wet, right? Like put the first toe in, be willing. If you need to turn around, you can turn around, but the chances of the sea parting are very big. So yeah, just do it.
I love it. Thank you so much, Jenna. You are amazing. And for everyone who is watching, and I'll have the links and everything below. Where can they find you? Where can they follow you? What is your, most preferred form of content?
Yeah, GroupTrackCRM.com is our website. We also have a Facebook group called Organic Sales System, powered by GroupTrack. Come into our group. We'll treat you exactly how we teach you to treat your own community. Experience it for yourself. And of course, if you want to get a free trial of GroupTrack, you can get that on the website as well.
Beautiful. God bless and thank you so much, Jenna. Have an amazing day.